The Summer I Turned Pretty by Jeannie Han. We'll start with the blurb. Actually, before we begin, I actually own all 3 of the books. The Summer I Turned Pretty, It's Not Summer Without You, and We'll Always Have Summer. Today we'll be reading this one, I believe. Yep, The Summer I Turned Pretty. And in honor of season 3 starting and Connie Baby's episode last night. Okay. I'm like, let me get comfy. Okay. It's literally just me at home, so we will begin. P.S. I also bought myself a little book stamp. I say, I can't believe you're really here. He almost sounded shy when he says, me neither. And then he hesitates. Are you still coming with me? I can't believe he even has to ask. I would go anywhere. Yes, I tell him. It feels like nothing else exists outside of that world, this moment. There's just us. Everything that happened this past summer and every summer before it has led up to this, to now. Chapter 1. We'd been driving for around 7,000 hours. Yes. Or at least that's how it felt. My brother Stephen drove slower than our grandma. I sat next to him in the passenger seat with my feet up on the dashboard. Meanwhile, my mother passed out in the back seat. Even when she slept, she looked alert. Like at any second she could wake up and direct traffic. Go faster, I urged Stephen, poking him in the shoulder. Let that kid pass on the bike. Stephen shrugged me off. Never touch the driver, he said. And take your dirty feet off my dashboard. I wiggled my toes back and forth. They looked pretty clean to me. It's not your dashboard. It's going to be my car soon, you know. If you ever get your license, he scoffed. People like you shouldn't be allowed to drive. That is rude. Hi guys, we're currently reading The Summer I Turned Pretty. We're up to chapter 1. Hey, look, I said, pointing out the window. That guy in the wheelchair just lapped us. Stephen ignored me, and I started to fiddle with the radio. One of my favorite things about going to the beach was the radio stations. I was familiar with them as I was with the ones back home, and I listened to Q94, and listening to Q94 made me just really know inside that I was there at the beach. I found my favorite station, the one that played everything from pop to oldies to hip-hops. Tom Petty was singing Free Falling. I sang right alongside him. Stephen reached over to switch the stations and I slapped his hand away. Belly, your voice makes me want to run this car into the ocean. He pretended to swerve right. That's actually so dangerous. Oh my goodness. P.S. Don't mind the commentary and leave a comment on like what you're thinking while I'm reading. I sang even louder, which woke up my mother, and she began to sing too. We both had terrible voices, and Stephen shook his head that disgusted himself in a Stephen way. He hated being outnumbered. It was collective. It was what bothered him most about our parents being divorced. Being the lone guy without our dad to take his side. We drove through town slowly, and even though I'd just teased Stephen about it, I didn't really mind. I loved this drive, this moment. Seeing the town again, Jimmy's Crab Shack, the putt-putt, all the surf shops. It was like coming back home after you'd been gone a long, long time. It held a million promises of summer and of what might just be. As we got closer and closer to the house, I could feel that familiar flutter in my chest. We were almost there. I rolled down the window and took it all in. The air tasted the same, smelled just the same. The wind made my hair feel sticky, the salty breeze, all of it felt just right. Like it had been waiting for me to get there. Stephen elbowed me. Are you thinking about Conrad? He asked mockingly. For once the answer was no. No, I snapped back. My mother stuck her head between our two seats. Belly, do you still like Conrad? From the looks of things last summer, I thought there might be something going on between you and Jeremiah. I'm like, am I reading the right thing? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I don't know. It's a lot. Honestly, this is the first time I've read like a book out loud in a hot minute. I usually just read in my head. That's actually hilarious. Oh my gosh. What? You and Jeremiah? Stephen looked sickened. What happened with you and Jeremiah? Nothing, I told them both. I could feel the flush rising up from my chest. I wanted to... Interesting. I wish I had a tan to cover it up. Mum, just because two people are good friends doesn't mean anything is going on. Please never bring that up again. My mother leaned back into the seat. Done, she said. Her voice had that note of finality that I knew Stephen wouldn't be able to break through. Because he's Stephen, he tried anyway. What happened with you and Jeremiah? You can't say something like that and not explain it. Get over it, I tell him. Telling Stephen anything would only give him ammunition to make fun of me. That's actually so fitting. Such like a brother-esque type thing. And anyway, there was nothing to tell. There had never been anything to tell. Not really. Conrad and Jeremiah were Beck's boys. Beck was Susanna Fisher, formerly Susanna Beck. My mother was the only one who called her Beck. They'd known each other since they were 9. Blood sisters, they called each other. And they had scars to prove it. Identical marks on their wrists that looked like hearts. Susanna told me that when I was born, she knew I was destined for one of her boys. She said it was fate. My mother, who wouldn't normally go for that kind of thing, said it would be perfect, as long as I had a few last loves before I settled down. Actually, she had said lovers, but the word made me cringe. Susanna put her hands on my cheeks and said, Belly, you have my unequivocal blessing. I hate to lose my boys to anyone else. Okay, now this, okay, you get it. I love the books too. This is like a reread situation. This is just me commenting. But like, I think the fact that Susanna, like, it's an inverted pressure, right? That she's been like, I know you're destined for one of my boys. Like, you were just made for them. And her mum's like, maybe, but like, you know, meet other people first. And like, if you compare it to like the shows and stuff, Belly, yeah, no, I don't think she's met a lot of people. Like, her whole world, obviously it's about the summer aspect of her life, but like her whole world always stems around the boys and the house. And I feel like the only person in the TV show that, you know, that wasn't one of the boys that she had an interest in was Cam Cameron. And even then, like, that wasn't really, you know. Yeah. Okay. We'd been going to Susanna's beach house in the Cousins Beach every summer since I was a baby, since before I was even born. For me, Cousins was less about the town and more about the house. The house was my world. We had our own stretch of beach all to ourselves. The summer house was made up of a lot of things. The wraparound porch we used to run on, jugs of sun tea, the swimming pool at night, but the boys most of all. I always wondered what the boys looked like in December. I tried to picture them in cranberry-coloured scarves and turtleneck sweaters, rosy-cheeked and standing beside a Christmas tree. But the image always seemed false. I didn't know the winter Jeremiah or the winter Conrad, and I was jealous of everyone who did. I got flip-flops and sunburned noses and swim trunks and sand. But what about those New England girls who had snowball fights with them in the woods? The ones that snuggled up to them while waiting for their car to heat up. The ones who they gave their coats to when it was chilly outside. Well, Jeremiah maybe. Not Conrad. Conrad would never. It wasn't his style. Either way, it didn't seem fair. I feel like she just has such an unhealthy attachment to these boys. And like, I love them. When I say them, I mean Jeremiah. Oh, Jeremiah, ew. Conrad. We're Team Conrad here, guys. Erase that. That's never seen the light of day. We're Team Conrad on this corner of the internet. Yeah, no, we are Team Conrad. Okay. I'd sit next to the radiator in history class and wonder what they were doing, if they were warming their feet alongside the bottom of the radiator somewhere too, counting the days until summer again. For me, it was almost like winter didn't count. Summer was what mattered. My whole life was measured in summers. Like I didn't really begin living until June, until I'm at that beach, in that house. Obviously, because I live in, I think, it's the southern hemisphere. New Zealand is in like the southern hemisphere, so the seasons are flipped, and so I've always found it quite like tricky to like, you know, do that brain, like when I was a kid, especially when I was reading like these books and stuff where it was like an American summer and they're like June, July, and I'm like, that's the middle of winter. Or like when people are like, oh, when's your birthday? My birthday's in June, right? And so I'm like, oh yeah, I'm a winter baby. But like if the from the other side of the world, like America, they'll be like, that's the summer, like, you know. Or like, you know, when people are like June wedding and it's like, that's the middle of winter. They're like, oh, we want a summer, you know. So it's just like, I guess, perspective and distance. Okay, quick question, yes or no? Yes or no to what? I need to know before I decide. Tell me what I'm yes or knowing to. I think that would be great to know. What accent is this? So I am from New Zealand. So I guess I have a Kiwi accent. Yeah, I get told I have an accent, but I guess when you're just born here and you were brought up with it, it just is. Okay. Yeah, I live in Rotorua. Okay, that's the question, yes or no? I'm gonna say yes, I guess. Wait, same, but I don't look like I live from New Zealand? Okay, that's actually such an interesting point. Yeah, that's a new one. I haven't got that before. People usually just say like, oh, you sound British. And I'm like, British where? Foreign. Well, yeah. My parents are from Africa, in Zimbabwe, so the southern part of Africa, and I was born here, so I suppose, but I was born in New Zealand. Okay. I shall continue. Okay. Like, I don't really begin living until June, until I'm in that house, at that beach by that house. Conrad was the older one. By a year and a half, he was dark, completely unattainable, unavailable. He had a smirky kind of mouth, and I always found myself staring at it. Smirky mouths make you want to kiss them, to smooth them out, and kiss the smirkiness away. Or maybe not away, but you could want to control it somehow, make it yours. It was exactly what I wanted to do with Conrad, make him mine. Okay, that actually is like, okay, I'm obsessed. Okay. Jeremiah, though, okay. He was my friend. Emphasis on the friend. He was nice to me. He was the kind of boy who still hugged his mother, still wanted to hold her hand, even when he was technically too old for it. He wasn't embarrassed either. Jeremiah Fisher was too busy having fun to ever be embarrassed. I bet Jeremiah was more popular than Conrad at school. I bet the girls liked him better. I bet that if it weren't for football, Conrad wouldn't be some big deal. He would just be quiet, moody Conrad, not a football god. And I liked that. I liked that Conrad preferred to be alone, played his guitar. Like he was above all the stupid high school stuff. I like to think that if Conrad went to my school, he wouldn't play football. He'd be on the lit mag, and he'd notice someone like me. Wait, no, that's so cute. That's so cute. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Oh, that actually, I feel like it's so jarring to like go back to like season 1/book 1, Belly's, I guess, dialogue. Like, it's just so different from what we're hearing at the moment, you know? Oh. Wait, I need a minute. I need a minute to think about this. Okay. Okay, next scene. When we finally pulled up to the house, Jeremiah and Conrad were sitting out on the front porch. I leaned over Stephen and honked twice, which in our summer language meant, come help with the bags, stat. Conrad was 18 now. He had just had his birthday. He was taller than last summer, if you'd believe it. His hair was cut short around his ears and was dark as ever, unlike Jeremiah's, whose hair had gotten longer, so he looked a little bit shaggy, but in a good way, like a 70s tennis player. When he was younger, it was yellow curls, almost platinum in the summer. Jeremiah hated his curls. For a while, Conrad had him convinced that crust made your hair go curly. So Jeremiah stopped eating sandwich crusts, and Conrad would polish them off. As Jeremiah got older, though, his hair was less and less curly and more wavy. I missed his curls. Susanna called him her little angel, and he used to look like one with his rosy cheeks and yellow hair curls. He still had the rosy cheeks, though. Jeremiah made a megaphone with his hands and yelled, "Steve-O!" I don't like that. That's very like bruh kind of energy. Very not me. I'm too much of a girly pop for that, you know? Okay, I sat in the car and watched Stephen amble up to them and hug the way guys do. The air smelled salty and wet, like it might rain seawater any second. I pretended to be tying my laces on my sneakers, but I really wanted to have a moment to look at them, at the house for a while, in private. The house was large and grey and white, and it looked like most every other house on the road, but better. It looked just the way I thought a beach house should look. It looked like home. My mother got out of the car then too. "Hey boys, where's your mother?" she called out. "Hey Laurel, she's just taking a nap," Jeremiah called back. Usually she came flying out the house the second our car pulled up. My mother walked over to them in about 3 strides and hugged them both tightly. My mother's hug was as firm and as solid as her handshake. She then disappeared into the house with her sunglasses perched on the top of her head. I got out of the car and slung my bag over my shoulder. They didn't notice me walk up at first. Then they did. They really did. Conrad gave me a glance over the way boys do at the mall. Wait, what? Okay, gotcha. Conrad gave me a quick glance over the ways boys do at the mall. He had never looked at me like that before, in my whole life, not once. I could feel the flush from the car return. Jeremiah, on the other hand, did a double take. He looked at me like he didn't even recognize me. All of this happened in the span of about 3 seconds, but it felt much longer. Conrad hugged me first, but a far-away kind of hug, careful not to get too close. He had just gotten a haircut, and the skin around the nape of his neck looked pink and new, like a baby's. He smelled like the ocean. He smelled like Conrad. "I liked you better with glasses," he said, his lips close to my ear. That stung. I shoved him away and said, "Well, too bad. My contacts are here to stay." He smiled at me. Gets it. His smile did it every time. "You've got new ones," he said, tapping me on the nose. He knew how self-conscious I was about my freckles, and he still teased me every time. Then Jeremiah grabbed me next. He almost lifted me into the air. Belly button's all grown up, he said. I laughed. Put me down, I told him. You smell like B.O. Jeremiah laughed loudly. Same old belly, he said. But he was staring at me like he wasn't quite sure who I was. He cocked his head to the side and said, Something looks different about you, Belly. I braced myself for the punchline. What? I got contacts. I wasn't completely used to myself without glasses either. My best friend Taylor had been trying to convince me to get contacts since the 6th grade, and I'd finally listened. He smiled. It's not that. You just look different. I went back to the car, and the boys followed me. We unloaded the car quickly, and as soon as we were done, I picked up my suitcase and my book bag and headed straight for my old bedroom. Okay, that's good. My room was Susanna's from when she was a child. It was a faded wallpaper and a white bedroom set. There was a music box that I loved. When you opened it, there was a twirling ballerina that danced to the theme song of Romeo and Juliet, the old-timey version. I kept my jewelry in it. Everything about my room was old and faded, and I loved that about it. It felt like there might be secrets in the walls, in the four-poster bed, especially that music box. Seeing Conrad again, having him look at me that way, I felt like I needed a second to breathe. I grabbed my stuffed polar bear on my dresser and hugged him tight to my chest. His name was Junior Mint, Junior for short. I sat down with Junior on my twin bed. My heart was beating so loudly I could hear it. Everything was the same, but not. They had looked at me like I was a real girl, not just somebody's little sister. I'm deceased. This is so good. Ugh. I'm actually deceased. What the heck? This is so good, this book. I don't know, I'm like getting like all the flashbacks from like the TV show, and the dialogue is almost exactly the same, which is interesting because it's kind of just like copy paste, if that makes sense, like copy paste. Yeah, I quite like it, and I'm so glad that they made it like a TV show. Like, it's just really good. Okay. The first time what's this? Chapter 2, age 12. The first time I ever had my heart broken was at this house. I was 12. It was one of those really rare nights where the boys weren't all together. Stephen and Jeremiah were on an overnight fishing trip with some boys they'd met at the arcade. Conrad said he didn't feel like going. And of course, I wasn't invited. So it was just me and him. Well, not together, but in the same house. I was reading a romance novel in my room with my feet on the wall when Conrad walked by. He stopped and said, Belly, what are you doing tonight? I folded the corner of my book. Okay. That's actually like a criminal offense. You know when like people like don't have a bookmark and they just like physically just fold the pages? I'm so particular about my books. Like, I've got pins and needles, my legs just like going staticky. But like, I'm so particular with my books that like, you cannot fold any pages of my books. I can tell you that much. I would be so upset. Like, my sister, she borrowed a book from me a little while back, and she took it to work and it was in a bag, and she bent the front cover, like the cover of the book, it was bent, and I was livid. Like, I was so upset. So I'm just reading your comments now, Layla. You're from South Africa and moved to New Zealand. Oh my goodness. Like, how long have you been in New Zealand for? But yeah, that's a non-negotiable for me. And so that's why I don't let people borrow my books. Like, even my sister, that was difficult. And I would always say, like, you're not bending a page. A corner cannot be creased. Like, it needs to stay pristine. And so, what's that? Yeah. Like, I've read this whole series before, and they basically still look brand new. Like, tell me these are not, like, the most gorgeous covers you've ever seen, right? Like, they're beautiful. Like, my favorite is the purple cover. purple is my favorite color. But like they're just so nice. They're so pristine. Like that's literally it. Like I'm just holding it and you can tell. Like it doesn't even look like it's been read. But like you can tell it's been read. It's just not destroyed. Oh, I don't know. That's just something that irks me. Okay. Okay, so you've been in New Zealand for 7 years. How different, like, how was it adjusting? Like, because obviously it's very, very different, moving countries and all of that. So, yeah. You're reading Wings of Fire. Okay. I'm like, what is that? I'm like, I've got my laptop here. So I'm gonna do a quick little Google search and then we'll see. I'm like, Wings of Fire. I don't know if Wings of Fire. Oh, okay. I have not read this one. Okay. Yeah, I have not read this one. Like, I'm like, what is it about? I'm seeing dragons. So I'm like, I'm assuming this is the right thing. Yep, dragons. I think the most recent dragon book I read is Fourth Wing. And honestly, I really loved that. Like, I thought it was really good. I still haven't read the last one. I've got it. It's on my shelf. But I just haven't had, not even the time, but like I just was putting it off just because, what is it? It's called Onyx Storm. So I haven't read that book just yet. But it's on the list. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah, to learn English. That's actually so difficult. And I feel like as someone who like is like their first language is English, even then, learning honestly, English is such a weird language in and of itself. Like it just doesn't make sense. And then there's like weird rules and then it's like you I don't know. It's just a weird language. Like it's just so yes, it's very confusing. And like spelling, like speaking it's different and then there's spelling it and then obviously the pronunciation of everything. But I don't know. It's just it can be extremely frustrating, especially like because I don't know. I think other languages don't have like the same. Well, yes, every language has its own structure, but I don't know like the spelling, I think the spelling of English words, it's like some things you see it as it is and that's just what it is. And then there's some other words and it's like, well, that's actually not how you say it. I saw this funny video on TikTok. I think it was last night. I was doom scrolling at 1 a.m. So, you know. And it was this guy trying to pronounce fettuccine pasta. So like, you know, like the long flat pasta. They were saying, he was like, I forgot what he was saying, but it was really like, babe, that's not the correct word. And his friends were obviously like, you know, making fun of it for fun of him for a little bit. And they're like, how do you say it? And he's like, I don't know. He was like trying to say it some like weird way. And they're like, it's fettuccine. And he's like, no, it's not. That's not how it's spelled. And they're like, yeah, it's Italian, but it's in the English dictionary. Like, you know. And I feel like because, you know, the British were such colonizers, they stole everyone's land, they stole everyone's languages and claimed them as their own. And so that's why English is so difficult in the scheme of things. I think, yeah. Yeah, no, I know how you feel, don't worry. I think it also gets a little bit worse once you hit tertiary studies as well. So I'm currently in university, and so there's different rules on like how you English, and that. I don't know, that just kind of just throws another spanner in the works, in all honesty, because I honestly don't, I just don't like like grammar, like you'll be like missing a letter or the letters are the wrong way round, or like, because I take law, so I'm a law major, but there's like some words in the English language that like it's spelt correctly, but because you're referring to it in a law, like lawyery context, there's like letters missing from the word, but it's still the same word. It's still pronounced the exact same. It's because it's how it's written. And so I've gotten a few comments, just like in my feedback portion of my essays. It's like, actually, you know, when you're spelling the word judgment, for example, there's no E after the judge. Like in judgment, there's no there's no extra E in it because you're referring to what a judge is saying. But like in another random context, just off the street, that spelling is completely correct. So honestly, I feel like it just keeps getting complicated. Okay, so my name is Majida, for those of you who don't know me, and the name, like my handle for all my social medias, is Mamajida. It was like a nickname that I got a while back, and I was like, I kind of like that. I'll keep it. So yeah, my name is Majida though, and I think that's like somewhere in the comments or like whatever, like it should be like on my profile somewhere and like in the description box or like my banner or something. But yeah, so I feel like each language has its quirks. But yeah, I really like it. A couple weeks ago, a couple weeks ago, I decided to take inventory of my library. So I pulled all my books off the bookshelf and I decided that I need to find a way to know what books I have. Oh, from India. Whereabouts in India are you from? That's exciting. And so I was scanning all of these codes at the back, you see? And so I was scanning them with my phone and I was putting them into like a specific program on my computer. My name is Majida. It's nice to meet you. How do I say your name? Is that Pinak? I hope I'm pronouncing that right. But yeah, yeah, so I was scanning all my barcodes. Okay, that's good. I always try to say people's names correctly. Oopsies. Give me 2 seconds. I'll be right back. How was gym? I didn't go to the gym. Look at what I'm wearing. Okay. Yeah. You need a Pop-Tart. That's all good. So good of you to join. Hopefully we'll see you again. Make sure to subscribe for next time. And I'll probably be playing my guitar. Yeah, this is the first time I've been like reading a book and stuff on live. So yeah, hopefully we'll see you again later next time. But yeah, so I was taking inventory of all my books and I eventually found out that I only have 150 books, but that's actually not a lot. Yeah, so we're working on building the library, but apparently in order to be a library, you've got to have 1,000 books, and so I only have 150 at the moment that I've scanned. I'm also missing one from a series of 12 books, and it's the first book, but I've got one of those books, but in another edition. I've got the 10th anniversary edition, but I'm looking for the original edition, and so I've turned the whole house completely upside down. Okay, yeah, what do I do? So on my YouTube, I usually just like, I try to go live every once in a while, but I like posting different reels and like TikToks and stuff of basically whatever I'm doing. If I've got a new package, I'll be showing you what I purchased. If I'm cooking something, I'll show you what I'm cooking. If I'm like showing you what I'm wearing for the day, so like a new OOTD outfit type situation. If I'm practicing my guitar, we'll jump on here. I'll jump on live as well, and you guys can give me song requests, and I'll try play them to my best of my abilities. What else do I do? And I like to talk, and I like watching, like I love music videos, just music in general, pop culture. Yeah. Oh, that's exciting. So you're a varsity student doing junior engineering with environmental studies. That's really exciting. Yeah, I can imagine it's very difficult. I'm a law student myself, so I kind of understand how much work goes into that. And that's why I don't post it often, because I am busy, trying to be a lawyer. Yeah. Please, I need a drink. What's your favorite part of engineering so far? Oh, that's exciting. Okay, so what is my favorite part of... Oh, you guys have... Yes, environmental legislation is a massive thing, especially in New Zealand, I think. Yeah, because obviously it's trying to like preserve, I guess just like a lot of like Māori land and landmarks. That's what I'm studying at the moment, is in my land law class, is like, like trying to keep Māori owned land in the hands of Māori, because especially, so I live in New Zealand, so it's like the country next to Australia. We're like neighbors, we're not the same country. You probably don't want to go there on this channel, but yeah. Your favorite part is occupational health and safety. Ooh, so does that mean like you'll be like wearing like the hard hat and like going around and stuff like that in the future? Like obviously now when you're just studying, it's mostly all theory, but yeah. Okay, and do you like have like a clipboard and like stuff you need to tick off the clipboard? Honestly, I don't know. This is just an educated guess of what I've seen of like, the people doing roadworks on the side of the road, and like, what you see engineers do on TV and on like Netflix and stuff. So that was just an educated guess. Oh my gosh. Wait, no. Yeah. What made you decide... I feel like everyone on here, tell me a little bit about yourself. What's your name? What are your hobbies? What do you do? Trying to get the conversation flowing. Hi, thank you. I love The Summer I Turned Pretty too. Just before we were reading, when I say we, I mean I was reading aloud the book. We're up to chapter 2 right now. I was just reading aloud, and I was saying how it's... the dialogue from the books is almost verbatim to the TV show. Yeah, and it's giving me flashbacks, and Team Connie, baby. Oh, thank you. Yeah, my accent is definitely interesting. I feel like a lot of people have commented on that, on this live actually, but yeah. New Zealand accent, guys. Okay, slay. And my communication. Thank you. I've been working on it. I feel like to be a lawyer, you have to be able to communicate, so practice. Okay. I'm gonna go back to reading this for a bit, and then, yeah, just let me know your thoughts in the comments. Also, this is my water bottle. I feel like I've actually got to show you. It's so cute, right? So it's literally just Hello Kitty, and like Look at that. That's just so cute. Like, I actually love it. It's adorbs. Okay. Have I heard about, I'm so sorry, I'm not gonna say the name out loud. Osho Rajneesh? No, I have not. Okay. Okay. Gonna go back to the book. Okay. I was reading a romance novel in my room with my feet on the wall when Conrad walked by. He stopped and said, "Belly, what are you doing tonight?" I folded the cover of my book over quickly. "Nothing," I said. I tried to keep my voice even, not too eager or excited. I had left my door open on purpose. Hoping he'd stop by. "Want to go to the boardwalk with me?" he asked. He sounded so casual, almost too casual. This was the moment I'd been waiting for. This was it. I was finally old enough. Some part of me knew it too. It was ready. I glanced over at him, just as casual as he'd been. "Maybe, if I can have I've been craving a caramel apple." "I'll buy one for you," he offered. "Just hurry up and put some clothes on and we'll go. Our mums are going to the movies. They'll drop us off on the way." I sat up and said, "Okay." As soon as Conrad left, I closed my door and ran over to my mirror. I took my hair out of its braids and brushed it. It was long that summer, almost to my waist. Then I changed out of my bathing suit and put on white shorts and my favorite grey shirt. My dad said it matched my eyes. I smeared on some strawberry frosting lip gloss on my lips and tucked the tube in my pocket for later, in case I needed to reapply. In the car, Susanna kept smiling at me in the rearview mirror, and I gave her a look like, "Quit, please." But I wanted to smile back. Conrad wasn't paying attention anyway. He was looking out the window the whole ride there. "Have fun, kids," Susanna said, winking at me as I closed my door. I feel like she just knows. Belly and Connie, baby, she just knows. And like, it's so sad thinking about it now from like a season 3 perspective, from like the end of the books and everything. Oh my gosh. Rest in peace, Susanna. Okay. Conrad bought me a caramel apple first. He bought himself a soda, but that was it. Usually he ate at least an apple or two, or a funnel cake. He seemed nervous, which made me feel less nervous. As we walked down the boardwalk, I let my arm hang loose. In case. What? In case he wanted to hold her hand? Okay, but he didn't reach for it. It was one of those perfect summer nights. The kind where there's a cool breeze and not one drop of rain. It would be rain tomorrow. But that night there were cool breezes, and this was it. I said, "Let's sit down so I can eat my apple." So we did. We sat on the bench that faced the beach. I bit into my apple carefully. I was worried I might get caramel all stuck in my teeth, and then how would he kiss me? He sipped his Coke noisily and then glanced down at his watch. "When you finish that, let's go to the ring toss." He wanted to win me a stuffed animal. I knew which one I'd pick too. The polar bear with the wire-framed glasses and scarf. I had my eye on it all summer. I could already picture myself showing it off to Taylor. "Oh, that? Conrad Fisher won it for me." I waffed down the rest of my apple in about 2 bites. "Okay," I said, wiping my mouth on the back of my hand. "Let's go." Conrad walked straight over to the ring toss, and I had to walk super quickly to keep up. As usual, he wasn't talking much, so I talked even more to make up for it. "I think when we get back, my mum might get cable, and Steve and I have been trying to convince her forever. She claims to be so against TV. Then she watched movies on A&E, like the whole time we're here. It's so hypocritical," I said. My voice trailed off when I saw that Conrad wasn't even listening. He was watching the girl who worked at the ring toss. She looked about 14 or 15. Mind you, Belly is literally, 12 in this chapter? Where is it? She looked about 14 or 15. The first thing I noticed were her shorts. They were canary yellow and they were really, really short. The exact kind of shorts that the boys made fun of me for wearing 2 days before. I felt so good about buying those shorts with Susanna, and then the boys had laughed at me for it. The shorts looked a whole lot better on her. Her legs were skinny and freckled, and so were her arms. Everything about her was skinny, even her lips. Her hair was long and wavy. It was red, but it was so light it was almost peach. I think it might have been the prettiest hair I'd ever seen. She had it pulled to the side, and it was so long that she had to keep flicking it away as she handed people rings. Conrad had come to the boardwalk for her. He had brought me because he hadn't wanted to come alone, and he hadn't wanted Stephen or Jeremiah to give him a hard time. That was it. That was the whole reason. I could see it all in the way he looked at her, the way he almost seemed to hold his breath. "Do you know her?" I said. He looked startled, like he'd forgotten I was there. "Her? Not really." I bit my lip. "Well, do you want to?" "Do I want to do what?" Conrad was confused, which was annoying. "Do you want to know her?" I asked impatiently. "I guess." I grabbed him by the sleeve of his shirt and walked right up to the booth. The girl smiled at us and I smiled back, but it was just for show. I was playing a part. "How many rings?" she asked. She had braces, but on her they looked interesting, like teeth jewelry, and not like orthodontics. "We'll take 3, I told her. "I like your shorts." "Thanks," she said. Conrad cleared his throat. "They're nice." "I thought you said they were too short when I wore the exact same pair 2 days ago." I turned to the girl and said, "Conrad is so overprotective. Do you have a big brother?" I'm deceased. I'm literally deceased. What the heck? Okay. She laughed. "No," to Conrad she said, "Do you think they're too short?" He blushed. I'd never seen him blush before. Not in the whole time I'd known him. I had a feeling it might be the last time. I made a big show of looking at my watch and said, "Con, I'm going to go ride the Ferris wheel before we leave. Win me a prize, okay?" Conrad nodded quickly, and I said bye to the girl and left. I walked over to the Ferris wheel as fast as I could before they could see me cry. Later on, I found out the girl's name was Angie. Conrad ended up winning me the polar bear with the wireframe glasses and scarf. He said Angie told him it was the best prize they had. He said he thought I'd like it too. I told him I'd rather have the giraffe, but thanks anyway. I named him Junior Mint and left him where he belonged, at the summer house. Chapter 3. I'm actually deceased. Like, dissect, guys. Tell me what you think. Because she dragged Conrad over to the girl that she thought he liked, even though she likes him. Ah! And then she's like, "Okay, I'm gonna go now." And then she's trying not to cry the whole time. Really? Tell me that's not sad. Tell me that's like, doesn't make you emotional. Okay. Chapter 3. After I unpacked, I went straight down to the pool, where I knew the boys would be. They were lying around on the deck chairs, their dirty bare feet hanging off the edges. As soon as Jeremiah saw me, he sprang up. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said, bowing like a circus ringmaster. "I do believe it is the time for our first belly flop of the summer." I flinched away from them uneasily. Too fast a movement, and it would have been all over. They'd chase me then. "No way," I said. Then Conrad and Stephen stood up, circling me. "You can't fight tradition," Stephen said. Conrad just grinned evilly. "I'm too old for this." I walked backwards, and that's when they grabbed me. Stephen and Jeremiah each took a wrist. "Come on, guys," I said, trying to wiggle out of their grasp. I dragged my feet, but they pulled me along. I knew it was futile to resist, but I always tried, even though the bottoms of my feet got burnt on the pavement in the process. "Ready?" Jeremiah said, lifting me up under my armpits. Conrad grabbed my feet, and Stephen took my right arm while Jeremiah hung onto my left. They swung me back and forth like I was a sack of flour. I hate you guys, as I yelled over their laughter. 1, 2, 3. They launched me into the pool, clothes and all. I hit the water with a loud smack. Underwater, I could hear them busting up. The belly flop was something they started a million summers ago. Probably it had been Stephen. I hated it. Even though it was one of the only times I was included in their fun, I hated being the brunt of it. It always made me utterly powerless, and it was a reminder that I was an outsider, too weak to fight them, all because I was a girl. Somebody's little sister. I used to cry about it, run to Susanna and my mother, but it didn't do any good. The boys just accused me of being a tattletale. Not this time, though. This time, I was going to be a good sport. If I was a good sport, maybe that would take away some of their joy. When I came up to the surface, I smiled and said, "You guys are 10-year-olds. For life," Stephen said smugly. His smudgy face made me want to splash him and soak him with his precious Hugo Boss sunglasses that he'd worked 3 weeks to pay for. That's insane. Hi, we're just reading "This Summer I Turned Pretty," and I'm commenting basically about every single thing. I think you twisted my ankle, Conrad. I pretended to have trouble swimming over to them. He walked over to the edge of the pool. "I'm pretty sure you'll live," he said, smirking. "At least help me out," I demanded. He squatted and gave me his hand, which I took. "Thanks," I said giddily. And then I gripped tight and pulled his arm as hard as I could. He stumbled and fell forward, landing in the pool with a splash even bigger than mine. I think I laughed harder right then than I have laughed in my entire life. So did Stephen and Jeremiah. I think maybe all of Cousins Beach heard us laughing. Conrad's head bobbed up quickly. He swam over to me in about 2 strokes, worried he might be mad, but he wasn't, not completely. He was smiling, but in a threatening kind of way. I dodged away from him. "You can't catch me. You're too slow," I said gleefully. Every time he came close, I swam away. "Marco," I called out, giggling. Jeremiah and Stephen were heading back into the house and said, "Polo." They made me laugh, which made me slow to swim away, and Conrad caught my foot. "Let go," I gasped while still laughing. Conrad shook his head. "I thought I was too slow," he said, treading water close to me. We were in the diving well. His white t-shirt was soaked through, and I could see the pinky gold flake of his skin. There was this weird stiffness between us all of a sudden. He still held on to my foot, and I was ready to stay afloat. For a second, I wished Jeremiah and Stephen were still there. I didn't know why. "Let go," I said again. He pulled on my foot, dragging me closer. Being this close to him made me feel dizzy and nervous. I said it again last time, even though I didn't mean it. "Conrad, let go of me." He did, and then he dunked me. It didn't matter. I was already holding my breath. Okay, I'm deceased. Okay, so I'm just going to read your comments. So that was Max. I haven't watched the whole show yet, but so far it's making me angry. Okay, I need someone to discuss this with. Tell me what about it's making you angry and what season you're up to. Because if we're being angry at Jeremiah Fisher, then yes, absolutely. Okay, because I was gonna say that man, but not even that man, not even that boy. That man-child is exactly that man-child. Like, honestly, I just can't with him. If you're caught up, oh my gosh, I don't even want to give you spoilers. Like, I just can't. Okay, everyone except Conrad. Okay. Thank you. And honestly, I think this season, even Laurel's like, I'm like, hell yeah. Okay, refuse the wedding. Because I think Laurel's right. And I think it's just mad disrespect for what Jeremiah's done to... Are you burning toast, Mofaro?
Pardon?
Are you burning the toast?
No.
It smells
burnt.
burnt. Oh, okay.
Don't try and answer me like that. I'm not burning no toast.
It smells burnt. Yeah, no, Jeremiah does make me cringe as well. Did you see the episode where he showed up on Belly's birthday with a Oreo cake and flowers, and the flowers weren't... Okay. I retract all my statements. Okay. Season two. What episode are you up to? Like, so I don't give spoilers, because I'm assuming you don't want spoilers. No one wants spoilers unless you ask for them. Then I'll tell you. But yeah, I think season 2's in that like weird transitional period where they're like not like children anymore, but they definitely are not adults. And I think, yeah, the whole... okay, episode 4, okay. I'm like, I don't even remember what happened in episode 4. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna pull it up on my laptop because I don't want to be giving people spoilers. I'm sorry. Like, I know people hate that, like, you know, when you accidentally give spoilers. So I will check episode 4. Is Conrad still being moody? I don't think so anymore, right? Right? And the other question, yes, he's still very moody. And is Belly dating anyone? I think that's you know, that's the best way to say it without like accidentally giving too much away, because there's developments. Okay, who is she dating? I sounded like a bit of an owl then. Who? No, like literally, who is she dating at the moment? Because I think that's like the whole situation. Yeah. Honestly, I just love the show. It's very nostalgic. It's very cute to see she's not dating anyone yet. Okay. See? That's why I asked. Because what if I accidentally gave a spoiler? I mean, it's not really a spoiler. We all know the plot of the show, kind of. Even if, like, you haven't, like, read the books. But you go into the show kind of getting an idea. Yeah. Okay, random question. Does anyone have like a favorite like love triangle situation, or like from a TV show or like a movie that they've really enjoyed? She's just beefing with everyone, so she's not with anyone. Yeah, she does that. Just wait till... oh, I think it's a little bit like later in the season. I think it's maybe like one of the last... I think it's the last episode. Oh no, I think it's episode 6. I think it's episode 6 because Belly and her mum, they go through some things together. And if you think like that's just like not even skimming the surface. That's like the just, you know, it's a tiny morsel. But it gets like more into it like in season 3. Yeah, it's intense. Yeah, like I don't know. Yeah, I've started watching this new show on Netflix called Prison Break. Obviously it's not a new show, but I really enjoy it. The actors, guys, the two main characters, it's from 2005. I was 2 years old when this came out. So that's fantastic. But the main guy, the genius mastermind behind them breaking out of prison, so fine. So fine. Like, I don't know. They just are. And like, that's kind of one of the reasons why I would go into TV shows, is because I like see the poster or like I'll see the trailer. I'm like, oh, that guy's kind of cute. I'll watch the TV show. Do I have any idea of what's going on? No. Do I know the plot? No. And I might see another like actor or so that I know, and I'm like, okay, I've seen a few things they're in, but that's literally the only reason I'll like watch a TV show or watch a movie. Well, not only, but it's one of the reasons I'll get like into something that I've never watched before. Couple weeks ago, I saw the new Superman movie in cinemas. Did I have any idea of what was going to be like going on in the movie? I mean, it's Superman, right? But I was torn. I was like, do I go watch the F1 movie or do I go watch the Superman movie? I'm like, well, hot Superman, you know, like that was just my opinion. But yeah, and like most of my friends that went and watched the F1 movie, they were like, there were inaccuracies, and I was just like, maybe I probably wouldn't think it's worth it, like, you know, spending my money at the movies and then not even really liking the movie itself. So I decided I'll just like, you know, watch it at home another time when it like comes out on like streaming services or something. And I think it might. I'm just checking now. It's on Apple TV. So yeah, I'll probably just give that a go. The plot in the movie. Are you talking about the plot in the movie was really random? Are you talking about the Superman one? Or are you talking about the F1 one? That doesn't make sense. The F1 one. Yeah. Because, I don't know. I definitely had a lot of appreciation about like some of the like things in the Superman movie. Okay, I kind of agree, like but it like it kind of made sense if like you've seen other Superman adaptations and everything. I'm not like a superhero girly in the slightest. Like, I didn't watch the like full Marvel universe until maybe 2021. And that was when I was starting to go through it. So like 2022, 2023 was probably when I like watched all of the movies, and I'd watched some of the shows, but I definitely watched all the movies from the Marvel universe. And then like in terms of like the DC heroes, I don't know anything about superheroes. I think most people went through like a Marvel obsession when they were quite young as well. I never went through that, but my siblings did, mostly my brother. He's like quite a few years younger than me, so he definitely went through that whole like Marvel superheroes, like, we need to go to the movies, guys, we need to go see this in the cinema. But yeah, me, not so much. I'm definitely more of like a rom-com, a fantasy, a rom-com kind of gal, you know? I don't know, I just really like it. And I think the whole Lois and Clark aspect that they came through it from, I loved that, because in most of the Superman adaptation there has been, Lois has always been relying on Clark / Superman to save her from everything. Like, she's like really strong and she's really talented and she's like, you know, so independent, but like she was always the victim and everything. But like this movie, it kind of did a spin on that, where Lois helped Superman. And I kind of really like that she wasn't a victim. She was the one that saved him. And I think that's just very different. Because, you know, women in STEM, you know. Yeah. Unfortunately, I will have to end this live, just because I've got assignments and stuff to do, and I'm gonna watch Netflix and whatever else, you know, you do on a Friday night to procrastinate your work, and I've got work in the morning. But honestly, I really enjoyed this. Definitely let me know if you think the whole like reading a book aloud thing is a slay or it's a nay. Because I don't know, it's definitely something I haven't done in a while, to read a book aloud. And I think it's like, you know, bringing up those skills again, to just like, you know, read it and then, you know, talk about it and then read it and then talk about it again. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I feel like that's such a YouTuber thing, but thank you guys for watching my live. Definitely make sure to subscribe for the next time I go live, and then you'll be able to see the notification, and then you can come chat with me and we'll have fun. Okay, bye.